Welcome to Pillow Talk Dreams, where every night becomes a story and every story leads you to peace. If you love calm voices, gentle journeys, and stories that help you drift into dreams, then don't forget to subscribe and let your nights be a little softer. Now close your eyes and let the story begin. The morning after Myra was gone, the world felt different, not quieter, not emptier, just slower, as if time itself had forgotten how to breathe. Noah sat by the window, watching the same sunlight spill across the same streets, but it no longer touched him. The clock on the wall ticked, but every second sounded hollow. Even the air seemed unsure if it should move. He reached for his coffee, still hot, still real, but his hand trembled when he saw her cup beside it. A faint ring of lipstick still marked the rim, the last trace of a life that had once filled every corner of his own. He hadn't cried. Not yet. Grief, he realized, doesn't always arrive in tears. Sometimes it comes as silence, a silence so deep, it hums like distant thunder. That night as he lay in bed, Noah stared at the ceiling. The room was a museum of memories, her scarf on the chair, her book half open on the nightstand, her scent still soft in the air. He whispered her name once, testing if the walls would echo it back. They didn't, but something else did. A sound, faint, tender, like someone sighing through a dream. It came from nowhere, yet it felt familiar. He closed his eyes, and for the first time since her passing, sleep found him not gently, but deeply, as though pulling him somewhere he had never been. When he opened his eyes again, the world was different. There was no ceiling, no bed, no pain. He stood in a place that shimmered like moonlight on water, soft silver air moving around him, whispering with voices too distant to understand. And then he heard hers. Noah. Her voice was not sound, it was memory. It wrapped around him, warm and aching. He turned, and there she was standing at the edge of a vast, glowing field. Myra. But not as she was in life. Her form glowed faintly, her hair flowing like strands of light. Her eyes, the same calm gray, held both joy and sorrow, as though she knew more than time could tell. "You shouldn't be here yet," she whispered. "But you found the silence between seconds." Noah couldn't speak. He tried to reach her, but every step felt like walking through water. "Where am I?" he finally asked. She smiled faintly. "Where all lost tomorrows go." The wind, or something like it, carried her scent, that faint jasmine he used to tease her about. Everything shimmered, blurred between dream and memory. "You've stopped time, Noah," Myra said softly. "Your world sleeps because your heart refused to move forward." He swallowed hard. "I just wanted one more day." Her eyes softened. "Then dream it, but don't get lost." The field began to shift, petals of light opening like flowers at midnight. He could feel the pulse of something ancient, vast, peaceful, a realm made of love and longing. Noah took one slow step toward her, then another. But the closer he got, the more she seemed to fade like mist in morning sun. "Myra," she smiled, tears of light falling from her eyes. "Tomorrow will come, my love, even if it has to find you in a dream." He gasped and woke. The clock beside his bed blinked 3:33 a.m. Rain whispered softly outside and the city slept. He sat there for a long time, trembling, unsure if it had been real. But when he looked at the window, there was a faint handprint on the glass. Small, familiar, her handprint. And for the first time since she left, Noah smiled, not because he understood, but because he felt her presence again. The night outside whispered like an old friend, and time, just for a moment, began to move again. Where Noah finds a doorway in his sleep that connects life and love beyond time itself. The next few nights passed like mist. Noah no longer feared sleep. He waited for it, because sleep was the only place she might return. Every day he moved through life as though underwater. The world outside was still there, cars moved, people laughed, rain fell, but he was only half alive, a ghost among the living. And every night when his eyes closed, he felt the pull again, that weightless drifting into a realm that was both nowhere and home. The dreams began softly at first, ripples on a quiet pond. He found himself standing in strange places. A hallway made of starlight, a forest where time didn't pass, a river that hummed lullabies. But every dream ended the same way, with a silver door standing alone in the distance. Each time he tried to reach it, and each time he woke before his fingers touched the handle. One evening, Noah sat by the window again, pen in hand. He had begun writing letters to Myra not to send, but to speak what his voice couldn't. He wrote about his days, his dreams, his guilt, how the sunlight no longer tasted the same. As he wrote, he felt sleep creeping in. The pen slipped from his hand, and then the dream began again. He stood before the door, but this time it was closer. The air around it shimmered like candlelight underwater, fluid, alive, whispering. He reached out, heart trembling. His fingertips brushed the metal handle. It was cold, yet pulsed with warmth as though something waited behind it. Then a voice soft as wind through feathers. "Are you ready, Noah?" It was her. "Myra, if you open it," she said gently, "you'll see the world the way dreams do. But remember, you can't stay too long." He didn't understand, but his heart did. He turned the handle. The door opened with a sound like distant rain. Beyond it was a place unlike anything he had ever known. There was no sky, no ground, just waves of glowing mist flowing through endless air. Fragments of memory floated like stars, a beach they once walked on, the scent of her hair, laughter by candlelight, her hand resting in his. Every memory shimmered around them, suspended in silence. Myra stood there, glowing faintly, her hair drifting as though underwater. "What is this place?" he whispered. "Where everything you ever loved waits for you to remember." She took his hand. Her touch was warm, impossibly warm, and the ache that had lived in his chest softened. He felt peace, real peace. They walked together through the mist, watching moments replay like silent films in the sky. There they were, younger, laughing in the rain. There they were, holding hands under a storm. There they were, watching stars fall and making promises that never reached tomorrow. "We said we'd grow old together," he murmured. "We did," she smiled sadly, "just not the way we expected." The air grew quieter. Myra stopped walking. The path of mist ended at a vast mirror of light, like a sleeping ocean that reflected nothing. "This is where you'll have to choose, Noah," she said softly, "to keep visiting or to start living again." He clenched her hand tighter. "Why can't I stay?" She looked at him with that same endless gentleness. "Because the living can't heal in a world that never moves, and I want you to heal." Tears fell silently from his eyes, floating upward like tiny stars. "Then promise me I'll see you again." She smiled. "You already are." Her hand began to fade, light turning to dust, dust turning to air. "Myra, find me," she whispered, "in every tomorrow that feels like a dream." And just like that, the silver door closed. Noah woke with his hand outstretched. His room was cold, but his heart wasn't. On the nightstand lay his pen and a single white feather, glowing faintly, resting where nothing should have been. He held it to his chest, and for the first time since she left, he whispered not goodbye but thank you. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sky was pale and silver. Somewhere far away, dawn was waiting. Noah returns to the dream realm one last time, where love grows in a place untouched by time. The next night came softly. No thunder, no rain, only quiet. The kind of quiet that carries meaning. Noah lay on his bed, the feather still resting on his nightstand. He hadn't moved it. It glowed faintly even in the dark, a reminder that dreams were more than imagination, that love had found another language. He watched the ceiling, listening to the slow rhythm of his breath, and when his eyes finally closed, the feather pulsed once like a heartbeat, and the dream began. He stood in a garden, but it wasn't like any garden he'd ever seen. The sky was a pale twilight that never ended, neither day nor night. The air shimmered like dew, and the flowers, oh, the flowers glowed softly in shades of silver and gold. Some petals were transparent, others whispered songs when he brushed against them. And beneath his feet, the soil hummed low, calm, steady, like a sleeping world's heartbeat. In the distance, he saw her. Myra was sitting by a tree made of light, her dress flowing like moonlit water. Around her, the petals floated in slow circles, as though the garden itself was breathing with her. Noah walked closer, afraid she might disappear again. "You came back," she said, smiling. "I never really left," he whispered. She tilted her head, looking at him the way she always used to, like he was both a mystery and home. "This place," she said softly, "is the garden of forgotten tomorrows. Every dream we never lived grows here." He looked around. Each flower shimmered differently, one flickered like candlelight, another like a soft memory. "Do they belong to us?" "To everyone," she said. "Every love, every promise, every heartbeat that time didn't carry forward. They find peace here." Noah knelt beside one of the glowing flowers. Inside it, he saw something that made his breath catch, himself and Myra, older, sitting on a porch beneath the stars, her hair streaked with silver, their hands still intertwined. "That was supposed to be us," he whispered. "It still is," she said, touching the flower gently. "Every what if still breathes somewhere. Time doesn't destroy love, it just changes where it lives." They walked through the garden together. Every step echoed softly, as though the ground remembered every dream they'd ever had. At one point, Myra stopped beside a small fountain. The water rose in spirals, shimmering with scenes from their past. Their first kiss, their fights, their laughter, their quiet nights when words weren't needed. "I thought grief was losing you," Noah said quietly, "but maybe it's losing myself." Myra touched his chest lightly, her fingers glowing through him. "Then find yourself again. Not in what ended, but in what you still carry." He nodded, though his throat tightened. "And when I wake, you'll still have me, in light, in sound, in the way the world feels softer when you love it." The wind stirred. The flowers around them began to fade, one by one, turning into glowing particles that drifted upward like snow made of memories. Myra looked up. "It's almost morning," she said. "The garden only opens when the heart is ready to remember." He took her hand, desperate. "Then let me stay until it closes." She smiled, sad but peaceful. "You always were stubborn. Only with you." They sat beneath the tree of light as the dream slowly dimmed. Noah leaned against her shoulder, feeling warmth even through the fading. "Will I ever see you again?" he asked softly. "You already do," she whispered. "Every time you wake with peace." Her form began to dissolve into soft light. He wanted to hold on, but this time he didn't fight it. He let her go. He let the garden fade. He let the silence return. When he opened his eyes, morning sunlight was streaming through the window. The feather was still there, but beside it a single silver petal. He picked it up, smiling through tears. It wasn't grief anymore. It was something gentler, acceptance maybe, or love that had learned to rest. Noah whispered into the quiet, "Good morning, Myra." And the world finally whispered back. Noah begins to awaken between the dream world and the real, and Myra asks him for one final promise, to live again. For many nights after the garden, Noah's sleep felt different. Not as heavy, not as lost. He still dreamed, but the dreams came softer, like whispers instead of waves. Some nights, he'd see a faint silver glow at the edge of darkness. Other nights only her voice soft, tender like a melody drifting through time. He didn't chase the door anymore. He waited for it to open on its own. In waking life, Noah began to notice small changes. He started making tea in the mornings again, 2 cups, though he only drank one. He opened the windows to let the air move through the house. He even wrote again, not stories of sorrow, but of peace, of stars that forgave the night for being dark. But every night he felt the same gentle pull, the feeling that someone somewhere was waiting for him in a world made of moonlight. Then, one night in early spring, when the moon hung low and quiet above the city, the feather glowed again. This time the light was stronger, almost alive. Noah felt warmth spill over his chest, soft and slow. Sleep came not as escape but as invitation, and when his eyes opened he was standing beneath the silver tree again. But the garden was different now. The air was still, almost sacred. The petals that once glowed had fallen, covering the ground like snow, and in the distance Myra stood by a small pool of light, calm, waiting. He walked toward her, his footsteps leaving ripples of light on the earth. "You found your way back," she said softly. "I never stopped trying," he replied. Myra smiled, but there was something in her eyes, something deeper than sadness. "This is your last visit, Noah." He froze. "What do you mean?" "The door is closing soon. The garden, the dream, it's all part of healing. It can't last forever." He shook his head. "I'm not ready. I can't lose you again." She stepped closer, her presence warm as sunlight through fog. "You never lost me," she whispered. "You just forgot how to see where I stayed." "Then where are you, Myra?" "In every kind thing you do. In the words you write. In the way you still look at the world with gentleness, even after pain." They sat together beside the pool of light. Its surface shimmered with images of the world above, people walking, oceans moving, trees dancing in the wind. "Life keeps moving without you," Myra said. "And that's a beautiful thing, because love isn't meant to stop time, it's meant to carry it." Noah looked at her reflection trembling in the light. "I don't know how to live without the ache." "Then live with it," she said. "Let it become softer. Let it remind you that you once felt something so real it changed the shape of your soul." A faint breeze moved through the garden. The petals rose from the ground, swirling slowly around them like silver snow. Myra stood, turning toward the horizon, where the dream sky began to crack open with faint light, the sign that dawn was approaching. "It's almost time," she whispered. "But before I go, I want you to promise me something." He stood too, heart heavy but still. "Anything." She turned, her eyes glowing like dusk and dawn woven together. "Promise me you'll live," she said. "Not just exist. Not just survive. Wake up and live for the things that made you smile. For the morning coffee, the sound of rain, the words waiting inside you. Promise me you'll find joy again, even if it feels strange at first." Noah's throat tightened. He wanted to say yes, but the word felt too small. "And if I can't," he whispered. "Then remember this place," she said gently. "Close your eyes, breathe, and know I am still beside you, not in dreams, but in the quiet peace you'll learn to make." The air shimmered brighter now. The light began to rise, spilling across the garden like dawn pouring over still water. Noah reached for her hand. He felt warmth fading but real. "If I let you go," he said, voice trembling, "will you disappear?" "If you let me go," she smiled, "I'll finally stay." Her hand began to turn to light, fingers dissolving into air, then into the soft shimmer of morning. "I'll love you always," he whispered, "and I'll love you through everything you become." The garden began to vanish. The tree turned to silver dust. The air folded into silence. And as the light swallowed everything, Myra's voice lingered, faint but eternal. "Tomorrow will come, Noah, and when it does, you'll know that love never really left." He woke with tears on his face, not heavy ones, but soft like dew. Outside, morning light was spilling into the room. The feather and petal were gone, replaced by something else, his notebook, open on the desk. A new page filled with words he didn't remember writing. For Myra, who taught me that even when tomorrow never came, love still did. He smiled. It wasn't sadness now. It was peace, quiet, deep, and real. He stepped outside, feeling the sunlight on his skin, the breeze on his face. For the first time in a long time, he didn't look back. That evening he made tea again, 2 cups as always. He placed one by the window and whispered, "Good night, Myra." And in the faint shimmer of twilight, he could swear he saw her reflection smiling back. The final part, where Noah awakens into peace, and love becomes something infinite and free. The first rays of dawn spilled through the curtains, soft and golden. They touched Noah's face like gentle fingers, warm and forgiving. He hadn't dreamed of Myra that night. For the first time in months, his sleep had been quiet, no silver gardens, no glowing feathers, no voice calling him from beyond. Yet he woke with a calm heart. And in that silence, he realized something had changed. The ache was still there, but it no longer hurt. It simply was like air, like light, like breath. That morning, Noah brewed his tea slowly, almost ceremonially. The aroma filled the small kitchen, curling through the air like memory. He poured 2 cups out of habit, placing one on the table across from him, the same spot where Myra used to sit, her laughter filling the room like music. He stared at the empty chair and whispered, "I'm keeping my promise." Outside, the world had begun to wake. Birds stretched their wings in the cool air. The city, once a blur of noise, now felt alive, not loud but present. He watched the light slide over the rooftops and realized how beautiful it was, how alive the world remained, even when hearts break. Over the following weeks, Noah began to walk again, long walks through streets that once felt too crowded, too full of reminders. Now he noticed things he had missed before. The sound of children laughing by the park, the smell of rain on concrete, the way old trees swayed like they remembered every storm and still chose to stand. Each moment felt like a quiet gift. And sometimes, when sunlight hit just right, he thought he saw her not as a ghost, but as a warmth that passed through him, like the memory of an embrace. He started writing again, truly writing. Not letters to the past, but stories that looked toward the light. One story was about a woman who became the moon, waiting every night to guide her lost lover home. Another was about a garden that bloomed only when people remembered kindness. Every word carried a heartbeat that wasn't just his own. It was hers too. He titled the collection Dreams That Remembered Me, and beneath it in small handwriting, "For Myra, who showed me that love never ends, it just changes shape." Spring melted into summer. Life moved forward quietly but faithfully. Noah still visited the cafe where they first met. He still kept her photograph on his desk, but it no longer felt like holding onto something gone. It felt like honoring something that had become part of the air he breathed. Some nights, when sleep came slowly, he would walk out onto his balcony. The sky above shimmered with stars, endless and old. He'd look up, smile, and whisper, "I hope you're happy wherever light carries you." And sometimes, not always, but sometimes a breeze would pass by, soft and fragrant, brushing his cheek like a kiss. One evening, as he sat writing by candlelight, something stirred in the room, a faint shimmer on the wall. He looked up, and there it was, the silver door. It wasn't glowing now. It didn't hum or whisper. It simply was calm, still, like a memory returning for a final goodbye. Noah stood. He didn't feel fear this time, nor longing, only peace. He approached the door, his hand hovering over the handle. And then in the quietest voice he said, "Thank you, Myra, for coming back to show me how to live." He didn't open it. He didn't need to, because he understood now the door was never between worlds. It was within him. The space between love and loss, memory and tomorrow. And that door would never truly close because it was made of love itself. That night, Noah wrote his final story. It was about a man who once stopped time for love, who wandered through dreams, searching for the one he lost, and how in the end he found that she had never left, she had only changed where she lived. The last line read, "When tomorrow never came, he learned to make peace with today." Years passed like gentle tides. Noah's hair turned silver, his house filled with books and laughter again, from friends, from life, from quiet moments of joy. And when he finally grew old, he spent his last evening sitting by the window with a cup of tea, watching the stars bloom over the horizon. He whispered softly, "I kept my promise, Myra. I lived." The wind moved through the open window. A feather, white, glowing faintly, drifted in and landed on the table beside him. He smiled, then closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he was standing in the silver field. The air shimmered with the scent of jasmine, and in the distance she was waiting, the same soft smile, the same light in her eyes. "You took your time," she teased. He laughed, his voice lighter than it had been in years. "You said not to rush." They walked toward each other, and when their hands met there was no fading, no distance, only light. The silver tree bloomed once more, brighter than ever before. The garden returned, alive, endless. Noah looked at her and whispered, "So this is tomorrow." Myra smiled, her eyes glimmering with eternity. "Yes," she said softly, "tomorrow finally came." And as the dream folded into light, the world below turned quiet again, not with grief, but with peace. The wind whispered through the trees. The stars shimmered over sleeping cities. And somewhere in that vast hush between heartbeats and dreams, two souls rested, not apart, not above, but everywhere love still remembered its name. The stars are quieter tonight. Their light feels softer, like a lullaby written for souls who have finally learned how to rest. Somewhere between the rhythm of breath and the hush of midnight, the story finds its ending, not in words, but in peace. You've walked with Noah through his pain, through his love, through the long nights where he searched for something that couldn't be seen but could always be felt. And now, as the dream begins to close its eyes, you can feel it too, that gentle pull toward stillness. It's strange, isn't it? How loss can feel so heavy one day and so light the next. How love can disappear in form but stay alive in memory. Maybe that's what this story was always about, not endings or tomorrows, but the quiet in between. The space where hearts learn to breathe again. Noah once believed love was a promise that could only be kept if time stayed still. But he was wrong. Love is the promise that keeps time moving. Even when tomorrow never comes, love continues flowing through dreams, through hearts, through the smallest moments that remind us to keep feeling. Take a deep breath right now, wherever you are. Let the air fill you slowly, like morning light slipping through the clouds. Let it leave gently, carrying away the weight of your day, the echoes of worry, the little storms inside your mind. Every breath you take is proof you are still here, still learning, still loved. Close your eyes if they aren't already. Imagine the silver garden where Noah and Myra met again. See the tree of light blooming endlessly under a sky that never fades. The stars hum softly. The air glows like memory. Somewhere, a voice whispers your name, not to call you away, but to remind you that you belong here. Maybe your story isn't so different from Noah's. Maybe you've also held on to something that slipped beyond reach. A person, a dream, a version of yourself that existed in a different time. If you have, know this: what you love never truly leaves. It changes its home. It becomes the sound of rain on your window, the warmth in your chest when a memory returns, the quiet comfort that comes when you finally forgive the past. That is love's magic. It doesn't fade, it transforms. When tomorrow never came for Noah, it didn't mean his story was over. It meant he was learning to write it in the present. The same is true for you. Every sunrise that greets you is a page. Every breath is a line. Every choice to hope again is a poem. Tonight, as this story fades into silence, let yourself rest inside its truth, that nothing is truly lost, that peace is waiting beneath every ache, that even the deepest night still belongs to the stars. Imagine yourself standing in that silver field now. You're barefoot, surrounded by soft light. The air smells like jasmine and moonlight. You can see Myra and Noah in the distance, walking together, their laughter carried by the breeze. You realize that love stories don't have to end, they just find new places to live. Maybe yours will live in kindness, maybe in forgiveness, maybe in the quiet act of showing up for yourself tomorrow morning if tomorrow comes. And if it doesn't, love will still find a way to shine through the cracks of now. So, before you drift into sleep, take another slow breath. Feel the calm rise inside you, soft, safe, eternal. This is the peace Noah found at the end of his journey. And tonight it belongs to you too. You are safe. You are loved. And you are part of a story that never ends. If this story touched something deep inside you tonight, if it helped you breathe a little easier or reminded you that you are not alone in your memories, then let me tell you that feeling is exactly why Pillow Talk Dreams exists. Every story here is a whisper of calm, a place for your heart to rest when the world grows loud. So, before this dream fades completely, take a moment, just one, to keep this connection alive. Press the like button not for me, but for the part of you that needed this piece tonight. Leave a comment, share what moment stayed with you, what line felt like it was written for your soul. I read every word, every whisper you send back. And if you haven't already, gently subscribe to Pillow Talk Dreams so we can keep walking through these dreamscapes together. Stories that heal, soothe, and remind you that even in the quietest night, you are never forgotten. Now let your body sink deeper into comfort. Feel the mattress beneath you, the rhythm of your heart slowing with each breath. The world is fading, but only so you can find yourself again, inside a dream where peace waits patiently. The garden glows once more. Noah and Myra fade into light, their laughter becoming the sound of the stars. Above them, the moon opens her arms. She whispers something so soft you can barely hear it. Rest now, dreamer. You have done enough. And as that voice drifts into silence, you realize you're already dreaming. You are floating now, not away but inward into a place where tomorrow doesn't matter, where only now exists, where peace breathes through every heartbeat. This is where Noah found Myra again. This is where you find yourself. And somewhere in the distance, the words echo through the starlight when tomorrow never came, love stayed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me with your silence. Thank you for dreaming. If your eyes are still open, let them fall closed now. The story is done, but the dream has only just begun. Until next time from Pillow Talk Dreams, I wish you peace deeper than sleep, love softer than moonlight, and rest that heals the places tomorrow never reached. Good night, dreamer. Sleep well. And remember, the stars are watching over you.
you. you.